Welcome to Integrity Inspire, your daily dose of inspiration and motivation, featuring the bright and talented members of the Integrity Marketing Group family. Now, here's your host, Integrity co-founder and CEO, Brian W. Adams.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining today's Inspire podcast. I'm so excited to welcome another incredible partner with another amazing story. I talk about how America is the greatest place on earth. I know that we have our challenges. I know that there's a lot of issues that go on, and you see, the different things that we see in the news, but this is the land of opportunity. And we've had so many incredible partners that have been able to tell their story about coming to America and being able to really live out the American dream. And so I'm so excited to welcome my friend Juan Franco to the Integrity family. His incredible business called Solid Financial Plan has really built an amazing company in serving the middle market, especially with their life insurance needs. And his story is incredible, and I can't wait to share a little bit more about that. Juan, thanks so much for joining us here at Integrity. And congratulations on all of your success, man. I'm inspired by you.
Thank you. It has been an amazing journey.
Well, we started the Inspire podcast just to tell people stories and to inspire people, give them hope for a better future. And we started this during COVID. And really, as you saw a lot of negative things that are going on, people needed hope and inspiration. And today, if you look at the news and you kind of watch all the different things that happen, I think we still need hope and inspiration in so many different ways. Now, we were just talking about it. You were born in Colombia. And then I'd love to hear more about how you grew up in Colombia and then how you came to the United States. So tell us about Colombia.
Yeah, so I was raised in Colombia, and with my parents, they were basically, everybody in my family knew English. Basically, all of them were in a bilingual school except me.
Really?
And then, so I was the only one. And then they decided to send me to the U.S. to learn English.
You didn't know English at all when you came to America?
No, I basically had a written piece of paper on what to say, because I took the plane from Cali, Colombia to New Orleans. And from New Orleans, I had to take a taxi or whatever to Harrisburg, and I didn't know what to say. So
How old were you?
19. So I just graduated from high school.
So you were 19, didn't speak any English, and your family decided to send you to Southern Mississippi University in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, to learn English and to get an education.
Yeah.
And what were you studying when you were coming here?
So I studied basically first 8 months was all English.
Yeah.
Was to learn the language, and then right after that I decided to stay in college at the university, and then did an undergraduate in business administration.
Wow. Yes. So you were coming here. You had a piece of paper. So you land in America. You land in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And man, just what was that like to get off a plane and go, I got to figure out where I'm going from here?
It was scary because when the plane left, everybody was translating English and Spanish.
Right,
so I could understand what they were saying. But there was a moment that everything was English and I didn't understand a single thing that they were saying. So I look at the person next to me. I says, what did you just say? Gladly they knew Spanish. So they told me,
¿Cómo se dice en español? How do you say that in Spanish?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So it was then I missed my ride when I arrived in New Orleans because it was a late flight. And then so you have an alternative B. If you miss your flight, then you have to go to a bus station. So I had to go to a Greyhound bus station. And I didn't know how to say Greyhound bus station. So I said, please take me to the bus station. That's what I told them. And I guess they understood. Wow. And that was basically, then I took them, and then I waited from 11 p.m. until 6 o'clock a.m. in the bus station.
Just sleep on the chair?
I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, there was a bunch of people there just waiting. Every 5 minutes I will go and ask the attendant and says, when is my bus leaving?
Yeah.
My bus instead of, I said my
Yeah,
boost.
boost. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And see, he was like, until finally he figured out I didn't understand anything. So he just showed me 6 o'clock in the morning. I thought, ooh, I'm here all night.
Oh, man. That was a long night, I bet.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there and you're just like, man, what? You had to be thinking, you probably had to think a couple things. Man, I wish I'd learned English when my mom and dad were trying to teach me English. Secondly, you're probably like, what have I gotten into, right?
Right.
Now, if you go back in time a little bit, so you grew up and you were growing up in Colombia. What did you think about America at that time?
It was a dream to
Really?
come. It was kind of like I always saw the movies.
Yeah.
Everything was in Spanish, but it was like you see all the actors,
Yeah.
Harrison Ford or whatever, they were talking Spanish. Everything was in Spanish, but then it was like the snow. I
never seen snow before, yeah.
So it was like, when I was coming, I was supposed to go to Michigan. So it was kind of like, that was they told me I was going to Lake Superior. And then I met a guy that was going to teach me some English lessons. And he's from Alabama. And he says, why are you going to Michigan? I said, because it's the cheapest area that we could find to learn English. He says, no, I got a cheaper place. I went to school there. And he told us about Hattiesburg, and that's how I ended up in Hattiesburg.
Now, had you ever watched American football when you were growing up, or did you ever
Never.
know any American football?
That was like when I went to the first college football game, I was so excited, but I had no idea where the ball was.
Really?
Because people hide it so well. I'm like, where is the ball? Where is the ball? And people are like, yeah, they're clapping. I'm like, what happened? What happened? I was trying to figure out what happened, because soccer is so easy to follow.
Yeah.
You know where the ball is. In football, is hiding the ball. You're like, where is the ball? Where is the ball? Why people running? Why? I couldn't figure out, like, until later I started understanding.
So there was a incredible football player that went to Southern Mississippi, Brett Favre. Some people forget that Brett Favre went to Southern Mississippi and just one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So that was probably a little bit after your time there. So whenever I started in the insurance industry, I started selling insurance door to door in college. Then I went to work for this insurance company. And then quickly I moved into a management role and opened up kind of our expansion markets. And one of my first jobs was to open up Louisiana and Mississippi, and my first office was in Hattiesburg.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I spent a lot of
That's
time
amazing.
in Hattiesburg, ate a lot at the Waffle House.
I used to eat at
the Waffle House was
Hardest Street.
Oh
that's
my
it.
gosh! But man, those were some great times, man, and getting to know Southern hospitality and.
Oh yeah, great people there.
Great people.
I lived there for 11 years.
Wow.
So it was a long time.
Wow. Now, they say that, and I've heard this about you, that one of your greatest strengths is your persistence. It takes a lot of persistence to come to a new country, to not know a word. I don't know if I could do that. I don't think I could end up in Colombia and drop me in there. And man, I don't know. It'd be tough to learn a new language and to try to figure out, all of that. But I also heard that you've been in sales pretty much your entire life. And you had kind of a unique sales experience, and you started that in college. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I started, my parents were paying for my college all the way through like junior year. And then on the junior year, the exchange for pesos went ballistic. It went from 60 all the way up to 200. And then so it was, at that time, we couldn't afford to say, hey, just come back and finish your college in Colombia. I said, let me figure something out. So I learned that a friend had gone sell books door to door, and he saved money enough to pay for his semester. I said, I'm just going to do it. So I signed up to do door to door sales. And that was the best thing that I ever done for me.
Really?
That was an amazing experience for me. I stayed for 8 summers. So I basically sold books door to door and recruited a team, built an organization, and I learned sales, leadership, everything, how to run a business, everything. So it was amazing.
That's incredible. Now, After you got out of college, you started in something completely unique. And really, you were selling a new product through primarily schools. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I needed an H-1 visa to stay in the U.S. And the book manager, to keep me for one more year, contacted me with somebody that has sold books door to door and had a business in fundraising. And then he hired me as an H-1 visa and brought me to Houston to do fundraising with the schools. And Dan Hatcher, basically at that time, he brought me in and trained me and everything, and then I helped me go independent. And now he's actually part of the integrity also.
Really, it's part of your organization. It's amazing how that all comes full circle. Now, you got into fundraising, and that's a natural part of sales. I mean, I think the best example of fundraising I've ever heard is they call it friend raising. If you can make friends, then you can raise funds effectively from that perspective. And I truly believe that. But you were selling cookie dough. And I have bought more cookie dough through kids who've come home that are, neighbor kids or, our nieces and nephews that have been doing fundraisers at school to sell cookie dough and some of the most amazing cookie dough. But that was you guys. I mean, that was what you had built, right?
Yeah, I was called the cookie dough man at one time here in Texas. It was like we were the largest cookie dough fundraising distributor in the whole entire country.
Yeah.
And we was in Houston, Texas. We were bringing truckloads of cookie dough.
So I don't know if many of you remember this, but what would happen is your kids would come home, your neighbor kids, your nieces, nephews, your grandkids, whatever, and they would say, we're raising money for our school. It's kind of like Girl Scout cookies, except it's cookie dough, and it would be chocolate chips, snickerdoodle, whatever it might be, and then you buy it, and they come in this box,
right?
And then you would make, it'd be like Pillsbury, whatever, little individual cookies, and you put those on the platter and put them in the oven and cook them.
Eat them.
I eat them raw all the time. Yeah, I don't know if that's healthy. That's probably why I look the way I do. But yeah, look, I mean, the raw cookie dough, the chocolate chip was amazing, and it's one of the best. I mean, listen, that's some good salesmanship there, is getting kids to go and kind of guilt you into buying stuff, but that you need. It's also stuff that you need. My kids right now, they're doing some deal, their class, and they send you an email like Asher is 2 points away from the next prize. And they just hustle you the heck out of you. And you give money, and then they send it to all your nieces or your aunts and uncles and all that. I like the cookie dough thing better because you would actually get something for it. But when COVID hit, and really when it was really more of that, what was that hurricane that hit Houston that flooded the entire area? That's really when Hurricane Harvey came in. Mm-hmm. That's really when you got impacted the most, right?
The most, yeah. I lost a lot of inventory because it was kind of like during August at the busiest time of our season, where the season was going to start for the fall. The fundraising was like 80% of the business was done in the fall, 20% the rest of the year. So it was kind of like we were ramping up for a huge season, and the flood just took everything.
And that year, when Harvey came through, Houston got devastated. I mean, it was incredibly hard there, and that's when you learned you didn't have flood insurance, right?
Exactly. That I thought I had every single insurance that I could possibly have, and
wow,
I was like, I need to get into the insurance.
Hold on, insurance. Let's talk about this. And so, how did you get into the insurance business?
So I basically after I continue as an independent on the fundraising, I sold my business. Not for the price that I wanted to, but I sold it to recuperate some, and got into independent, and then continue until COVID hit again.
Yeah.
And then so I was ramping up again to do some business, and then that was the time that I say I better look for something more stable.
Yeah.
Even though I was 57, I was like, I need to look for something more stable for my family, and found found out with a client. A client actually was the one who first told me about insurance. It was with another totally different company, but it was the start.
Yeah.
I learned it, and then I didn't like their model, but I liked
The
idea, and I wanted to have leads and people to call, and then I found out about Family First Life in
That's
July.
amazing. And then you built at 57 years old, you start over,
Mm-hmm.
and you built an amazing business, multi-million-dollar agency that you're helping hundreds of agents serve thousands, tens of thousands of clients, and it is incredible. That comes back to that persistence, right? About that night in the bus station where you're like, man, I need to find my bus, right? I need to what time do I leave? You stayed so persistent. I can't imagine losing everything effectively, starting over again, and building something even bigger than before. It's crazy, man. Where do you get that persistence? What was it in your DNA or your childhood or your family? Where does that come from?
I think I think probably since I was a little kid, they call it garras. Like you have, and then when I was playing tennis little, and they used to say I was not the best player, but I was always persistent until the end. I will not give up.
Yeah. What's garras mean? What's that mean?
Garras means like you persist, you don't quit, you continue, and then so I will say that was I think my family probably. I have some. My mom was very persistent. My dad was very persistent. So between the two of them, I had a lot of that. Wow.
And I understand you talking about tennis. I understand you're one heck of a tennis player. You still play?
Yes, I love tennis. Yeah. Tennis is kind of like the sports that I love playing and meeting up with my friends at the tennis club, and just very, very good. My wife, basically, when we got married, I was playing tennis when I was little. Then I kind of went to soccer. And then when I went to college, I played a little bit. And then when I came to Houston and got married, my wife was the one who's telling me, hey, why don't you go do something?
Yeah.
Go play something. So I found tennis in a place, and then I started playing, and I got hooked. It was like.
And you've been playing as a little kid all the way now to now. What do you? So now in my area, they're converting all the tennis courts to pickleball courts. What do you think about pickleball?
At my club, there's like 6 courts now converted into pickleballs, and then so I guess I'm gonna end up playing pickleball.
Pickleball. Listen, pickleball's one fun sport. I kind of compare it to being. I like ping pong. It's kind of like being immersed in a ping pong game. Like you're actually a player in the game instead of just playing ping pong. It's not quite as active as tennis, but it kind of even more fun than ping pong. And man, it's taken over. That's for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So, what are you most excited about joining the Integrity family today?
Just learning about expanding the technology that Integrity has, the marketing capabilities, and just so many carriers and so many experience that we have, like everything that is available to us, and so many partners.
Yeah, well, and I know on behalf of all of them, we're all excited to welcome you into the Integrity family. I'm always inspired to hear great stories about people who have persisted, have come through really hard journeys. There's a lot of people that think that our partners were all born successful and they've been born with a silver spoon in their mouth. But in almost every case, it's stories like yours, maybe not as dramatic as yours, but stories like yours where they come and they go through a lot of hardship and they really persist. They work really hard. They stay humble, and they're in it for the right reason. And it's about serving clients and making sure that we take better care of the people that we're working with, and making sure that we do the right thing in everything that we do. And so we're honored to have you as part of the Integrity family. I appreciate you sharing your story today, and I can't wait to see where we go together, because I really think that with great people like yourself, we're just getting started, man. So welcome to the
you.
Integrity family.
Thank
I hope
you.
everybody else is as excited as I am. It's just another incredible example of being persistent when times get tough, just staying the course, making sure that we're working really hard to continue to serve more people and to accomplish more than we could ever accomplish on our own. And so I hope you guys have an incredible week. God bless you all and take care.